Key Digital, the experts in digital audio visual and control systems.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another exciting episode of KD Live. I am DeWayne R, the Vice President of Sales for Key Digital, and I'm joined by the illustrious Jonathon F, our Vice President of Product Education and Experience. How are you this morning, Jonathon?
Oh, doing wonderful. Thank you. Illustrious.
Thank you.
That's quite the descriptor. I appreciate that one this morning.
And if you're not watching in the mornings on a rebroadcast, we apologize, but it is morning while we're recording here. And today's episode is I'm very excited about because it is talking about a new feature set we've added to our free KD app. Many of you out there are already using our KD app on a lot of our products because it requires no programming, no Compass license. And this is very exciting, what we want to share with you today, because it's a couple of new feature sets we've added. We've actually had one of them for a while, which was display control within our AV over IP section of the KD app. But even more exciting now, we've added source control, and we're going to talk about that in depth. But the nice thing about that is on a lot of systems, especially in the restaurant distributed video systems, it takes like 95% of most of the jobs out there you can do without any programming. So I'm going to turn it over to Jonathon for a little bit to kick it off, and then we're going to go back and forth and talk about these features and what all you can now do with our AV over IP systems with our free KD app. So Jonathon, share with us a little bit about this.
Yeah, absolutely, DeWayne. Thank you. I'm just as excited as you are to talk about this new feature of the KD app, source and display control. It's been a good long time coming. I mean, you know, the Key Digital app, after all, it truly allows us to just leverage what we've built, what we've accomplished, what we've learned from our Compass control system, having that software, having that interface where before we ever had Compass control, you know, we've been around 21 years, but we've had Compass for only 9 years now. And before we had that, you know, we kind of were guilty of not putting ourselves as the immediate interface with the end user. Having a control system teaches you so much about the end user's experience. And then we took that from the Compass control system and we start asking ourselves, what can we build in to make for a better integrator's experience, an easier integrator's experience? So we really put ourselves out of our comfort zone by having these softwares, and boy, did we learn a lot, you know.
Absolutely.
The Key Digital app, I believe the very first case for the Key Digital app was actually our multi-viewer. You know, we were doing things with IP control and with our web UI that was just so cool. And people were saying, how do I do that? Well, you know, you may need the Compass app, you may do this, you may do that. And so we developed it for, we developed a free app version of just controlling the Key Digital device, right? So it started off where, you know, Compass control, if you needed to control peripherals like the displays, the sources, audio system, lighting system, etc. And the Compass app is really just focused on the Key Digital. And now we're able to do more and more things with it. As you see, video wall management, where we drag our finger. You guys have all seen that many times before. Or even where now we have these integrated systems controlling connected displays over CEC, for example, with our presentation switchers, controlling our camera and our amplifier, RS-232 devices, mind you, from our presentation switchers in systems, giving the users not, you know, output 1, output 2, output 3, source 1, 2, 3. Instead, giving them those friendly names so they know exactly what their display is they're controlling, their sources are that they're controlling, allowing users to create presets out of it so that they could come in the morning at the facility and press a single button to configure the system as needed, dynamically change it to another preset in the evening time. Let's just say bar restaurant, if it's now DJ mode time, giving the benefit of a control system, right? Which is,
and all of these, the friendly names, the user presets, that's all easily done again with our KD management software, which is also free. So and it just makes it, while it's not a complete custom design system, it feels like that in many cases.
yeah, you're absolutely right. So the learning and the leveraging and the handing that over to you, the integrator, doesn't stop at the app. We then continued and built that into our PC software as well. So you get all these benefits in there as well. If you need a PC as an integrator, a PC control interface, or your client says, hey, iPad isn't really our thing here. We have a dedicated IT team, AVIT, that wants to control this from a PC. Is that possible? And
the answer is yes.
The answer is yes. Always yes, isn't it? So, and again, just delivering that benefit of a control of software, which is, why are you spending money on this? You need to increase efficiency for your team. You need to, you shouldn't have a facilities manager just constantly turning on and off displays and routing video all day long, right? You need to be able to do this in, you need to be able to route 50 sources to 50 displays in a single button press, not over a period of minutes. So now we have the source and display control feature. And far and wide, this will make the overall cost of systems, will bring that down, covering a wide majority of the systems, as DeWayne mentioned. And it will also make the integrator's life a lot easier. So what we've done, you see the interface here. Left-hand side, you have your displays. Right-hand side, you have your sources. If you have enabled that display control feature, as you press the button for the display, in this case, Arrivals 2 is the selected monitor. And, when you choose that button, now that display control has been enabled, you could power on and off that display. You could increase, decrease volume, and mute it. And it tells you, the integrator, just so you could see, hey, is this going to work that first time? You could see what type of brand that is, what IR command, protocol and library we're sending. And same thing on the source side. Choosing a source, we give you that basic, give you what you need to make the project work. Control panel, you could enter the guide, page / channel, up and down, move up and down in the menu, exit, select, etc.
It gives you your basic controls that you want. And what's nice is, because it's our AV over IP with our encoders and decoders, these IR and RS-232 control ports are built on already. So it's just on the display side, it's a matter of just simply putting an IR emitter right there on the display. The decoder is already on the back of the display. So it's just a really quick connection, and you set it up that way. We'll talk a little bit more about IP, about PJ Link through IP here in a minute, but most of these controls are simply just IR instead of having to go around with a remote. And you've seen people do it in restaurants. They lean over a booth with a table to get the game on that they want to see. How horrible is that for the customer experience? Here we can do all of that. So, and that's both on the source side and the display side. Yeah,
that's right. So previously with our AV over IP system, if you were using just the free app for control, you'd only connect the HDMI. But now by adding your IR emitters, which we include in the box with our encoders, decoders, and we're using port number 1. Now you connect that to your display and sources. You enable the feature here in the Key Digital Management software. So for every encoder or decoder, there is a properties panel, as we see highlighted here. For the display control, it will be disabled, or by selecting one of your compatible supported displays. LG, Samsung, Sony, Vizio, Epson, Panasonic, and Sharp. Now we've enabled display control. Now, the Key Digital app is communicating. How this is working is, you may know about our feature for Open API. You could send a IP string to our units, and you tell it to execute a command for IR or even RS-232. And this is actually being used by folks doing a lot of QSys systems, for example, out in the field. They're using our hardware as the control point for IR and RS-232 controlled devices. We're sending those same strings. Now, so why do I bring this up? PJ Link is an IP control. It is not IR. PJ Link is on a specific IP port, and it's not possible to do it from the app, because our app is always communicating on a specific port. Because again, the app, the free app, is communicating with the Key Digital system only. It's just that now we've expanding the peripherals of what the Key Digital app can control. So, but for those professional customers with their AVIT teams, and they want to do this from the computer, from the Key Digital management software, that is where we can now add PJ Link for those commercial projectors. If you're not familiar with PJ Link, it's awesome. It's a universal commercial projector protocol, control protocol over IP, because you had all these different brands of projectors. They all have their own proprietary communication format, and fortunately they got together and worked on a standard, and brands have agreed to join that standard and now control PJ Link. So yes, Dwayne.
So to do that, Jonathan, explain it just a little more. Can you just simply, like on our IP 922 decoder, can you use that second IP port?
Oh, great point. Yeah. So let's say you only have a single Cat wire to Cat 6 wire to that projector location. If you have our 922s, yeah, they have a 2-port switch. Essentially, one port is used to get that 922 decoder online, and the second port can be used to connect to that projector and provide a network connectivity to it. Now you can send those PJ Link codes. Other projectors may have Wi-Fi, and as long as you have good, robust network coverage, then that would work as well. And then similarly with the sources, here's those sources we've added. DirecTV, HHR series, huge in the sports bars. Comcast Xfinity, huge in what seems like a majority of the US now. Cisco HD Explorer, extremely common IR code set for cable boxes. A lot of regional cable providers using that box. Eris, very popular in the States. I believe Spectrum is using Eris, but also Eris is very, very popular, very widely used in Canada, where we have a lot of very important partners. Motorola QIP, once again, popular. Sky, we consulted with our partners in Europe. This Sky Q box is the most commonly used set-top box over there. And then, of course, your Apple TV and Roku's, because they're extremely commonly found sources in a majority of our applications, and they fit perfectly into that control panel as we showed you there. So
and then don't be surprised if you see additional sources and displays added to the list as we go on.
Absolutely. This is a software, right? Software is a living organism, and we're always learning and always leveraging. And we have some really important partners that we want to add there, where the first base was, hey, let's get to the most commonly used customer or displays, the most widespread used displays. And, they might not be the most professional monitors. A lot of those are consumer displays, but that's the starting point. From there, the app you just open the app, it will scan and it will connect to the Key Digital App Ready system, in this case, our AV over IP system. And if you haven't downloaded the AV over IP system, you really should. It's got a Well, let's just
Yeah,
show it.
when you download it, you can go into the demo section and go to our IP 922s, and you can see that display control and source control in our demo of the AV over IP systems as well. So that way you can get a feel for what I do. And we
Exactly.
encourage,
So once you download it, it looks like the K icon for Key Digital there. And if you had a live system on your network, you would press devices, or if you just want to see what it looks like, we invite you to download the app. Again, free. It's been a long time since we've said it, DeWayne. Free 99.
Free 99, and I'll even knock the 99 cents off.
Oh, dang, man, you're really making some customers today, buddy. So yeah, we could choose any of our 4K AV over IP demos, and you could see exactly what that looks like. You know, some of the other features that maybe we haven't talked about since we've added, again, this is a software constantly living organism, is you can have the 922s have their audio de-embed feature and have the volume control here as well. So if you're using it as a preamp, voila, and that actually can address a lot of the audio systems,
especially on the source side there. Absolutely.
Yep. Here is where we turn on and off displays. Now the sources, so let's say our cable 2, we can enter the guide, navigate up and down, choose your display, or choose your channel you want to choose, exit. And again, you know, is this a list of your favorite channels? No. What would you do if you wanted a list of favorite channels for your customer? Well, that's where you step up to a professional control system, Compass Control Pro, or whatever control system you like working with, because our AV over IP system is extremely, extremely easy to control by third party. And I want to show one more feature real quick.
Before you jump to that, Jonathan,
Yeah.
what I'll say is say, okay, well, we don't really want to go to Compass. They don't want to pay for custom programming, but we'd like to be able to quickly, easily change. All you need to do in that case sometimes is maybe just add an extra decoder and have it as a local display, maybe back in the manager's office, and you can pull up and see, okay, change, you know, the guide. You pull up the guide, go through, hit the channel, and then you can send it out to the TVs in the restaurant.
Yeah, that's awesome. You could really do it all here. I don't think I put 2 and 2 together that we can that we could add the audio DS preamp. So now one last feature that is quite handy in things like houses of worship, where you're sending AV over IP throughout the building or campus. Universities as well, you use for digital signage, but then maybe you're using those monitors for a huddle space, for studying, or for smaller classrooms. So one thing you can do with the AV over IP is you can actually set it to select a local input. So the 922s and 1022s, they have essentially a 2x1 switch, where one input is the AV over IP system, the other is the local HDMI in. And so now imagine you're sitting at a display, it's used for digital signage. You could press this local input button. So instead of going to the signage for arrivals, right, we go to local, and now we see that toggle there. The L indicates here on the top left there, where we see arrivals 1, indicates it's viewing its local source. And then when we're all done, if you want it to go back to the info for arrivals, you could just select any source you wish, and you are able to switch back to the AV over IP system. So we invite you to demo that for sure, and then we definitely invite you to reach out to DeWayne and our sales team, so that we can go ahead and get you spec'd for your system needs.
Yeah, I mean, I was so excited when, when we first came out, we came out with the display control, but then when we added source control, that's why we wanted to do this episode of KD Live, because it is so powerful now what you can do with the KD app. I mean, it's almost Compass Light. you know,
Yeah.
because now you can even do, as we just discussed, some audio control as well. But, you know, and so with a little creativity, this can do a majority of your AV over IP solutions with zero programming. That's the key, zero programming. And, you know,
Yep.
as Jonathan was saying, because of all of our background in Compass, we really are able not just to focus on the integrator, which is, you know, our customers, but to focus on the integrator's customers experience. That's the key, because our job is to make our integrators look good, and their job is to make their customers look good. And that's what we do all the way from. And so we start with the customer experience and that this user interface. And it's, as Jonathan mentioned, it's a growing, living thing. And as we add more and more to it, it becomes just so much more powerful. So we're really excited about it, and check it out. But everybody needs to go on and download the KD app no matter what, and look at all of our products that you can already control, but really get into the AV over IP, that 922 demo, and see what all these new features are.
Yep, that's it. Thanks very much for joining me today, DeWayne, and thanks to everybody, the viewers, and hit us up, sales@keydigital.com. Join us on our, you're probably already subscribed on our Facebook if you're viewing this now, but we also stream these over on our YouTube channels and social networking, I think Instagram and Twitter mayhaps.
Follow us on all of our social media, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. There may be one other. I'm not sure.
Yeah, and if you're not familiar with it, you could go to keydigital.com, and I think if you scroll down to the bottom of our homepage, you'll see all those social icons. You could click any one of them; it'll jump you discreetly into our page, and then give us a like and follow from there.
Absolutely. Thank you all for joining us today for KD Live. Jonathan, thank you for another exciting episode, and we look forward to seeing you soon.